Simply one of the most beautiful women in the world.
Like many young girls who were fans of Hollywood and the movies, I grew up idolizing some of the people whose imprints can be found here.
Raquel. Born in Chicago, she grew up on the California coast, where Raquel Welch took an emotional trip home to her alma mater of La Jolla High School to return to where it all began.
A lot of memories coming back to San Diego, mostly stuff about being in my sort of science class and watching the surf come out and watching the room clear at the same time, and I would be the only person left in the room. All the guys would leave and go surfing. I remember days cheerleading, you know, and aspirations of being an actress. All this sort of study I did in school to be an actress.
The extroverted Raquel became a straight-A student and popular cheerleader. But at the age of 15, she blossomed into a voluptuous beauty, and her life took an unexpected turn.
Serious about becoming an actress, Raquel looked for ways to pursue her dream. Then a high school class assignment offered a novel opportunity.
As a teenager, she started to turn heads in a series of beauty contests.
Raquel's home economics teacher entered her in a beauty contest, and the flabbergasted student beat out 150 girls to win Miss Photogenic.
The Miss Photogenic Beauty Contest.
When I was 15, all the girls in the home economics class were told by the teacher that we had to be in this contest. So there I was, and because of my 10 years of classical ballet, I think I was the only girl who could walk in high heels, and so I won.
Raquel's unique beauty made her a standout at a time when Latinas rarely appeared in the mainstream.
I remember watching her come by on the float, you know, waving, and she was stunningly beautiful. And we were all very proud of her, all the Latinos in San Diego, because here was this most beautiful woman in all of San Diego, and she was Latina.
Raquel went on to win the titles of Miss La Jolla, Miss San Diego, and Maid of California in the Miss California pageant.
The stunning teen went on to win a succession of crowns, including Miss San Diego, Miss Contour, Miss La Jolla, and Maid of California.
I knew that a lot of the judges in these beauty contests were people from Hollywood, and that you might get a chance at a screen test. So it started to sort of turn my head in a way that I had not really anticipated.
The entertainment world's night of the year, the Royal Film Performance, assembled big personalities of the industry. The turn now of the stars of the evening, Raquel Welch, Woody Allen, and Ursula Andress. Exquisite Raquel Welch.
La présidente Sophia Loren et le décolleté vertigineux de Raquel Welch n'ont pu tempérer.
Raquel Welch, la nouvelle coqueluche hollywoodienne, distribua avec charme les prix. Orson Welles, pour son Falstaff, fut le premier récompensé. Palme d'or ex aequo avec Un homme et une femme de Claude Lelouch, le film de Pietro Germi, Belle dame et vilains messieurs, déclencha le plus grand concert de sifflets et de brocards jamais entendu dans l'enceinte du Palais des Festivals.
Un monument de vulgarité, clament les opposants. La prochaine fois, répond Jeremy, je vous promets de faire un film ennuyeux. Bref, un palmarès qui n'a pas suscité l'indifférence.
Claude Lelouch, par contre, eut le droit à une ovation chaleureuse.
Claude Lelouch, Palme d'Or pour Un homme et une femme, avec Anouk Aimé, Pierre Barou et Jean-Louis Trintignant pour interprètes.
Les lauriers attribués à Alfie, Grande-Bretagne, suscitèrent également maint remous. Grand prix d'interprétation masculine à Per Oscarsson, héros du film danois La Fin, d'Henning Carlsen. En conclusion, André Hollo déclara qu'un 20e anniversaire pour un festival de Cannes n'était pas une fin, mais plutôt un nouveau départ.
A living symbol of the idealized, unattainable female eternity. She's the perfect woman.
Welcome the lovely, the beautiful Raquel Welch.
It's good to see you again.
Thank you.
I always like seeing you.
Our first guest today is a true show business superstar. It's a real honor for us that she's able to stop by. Do me a favor, please say hello to the award-winning actress and absolutely stunning Raquel Welch.
Thank you. That's very nice.
Grandes leyendas del cine, grandes personalidades, actrices, actores. Y hoy día nos visita una gran actriz famosísima que nos ha amenazado muchas veces que viene, que no viene, que viene. Ahora ella está aquí, vino, está en Chile, está en Noche de Ronda, está con ustedes, amigas y amigos. Raquel Welch. How are you?
I'm fine.
This is your public. Please. ¿Es tú, Raquel, que nuestro público te quiere mucho aquí en Chile?
That's very nice.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias a todos.
Dile muchas gracias por estar con nosotros en Noche de Ronda.
Actress Raquel Welch spoke at the National Press Club in Washington yesterday. She talked about her life, family, and career.
Our speaker, as you all surely know, was born Raquel Tejada, and her acting career... Tejada. Tejada.
Nobody ever got it.
And her acting career has been quite a journey, an escape from typecasting, and a triumph of substance over style. Even so, one's tempted to do a little something to spruce up. What do? Watch a yoga video to relax? Buy a wig? Take a vitamin? I don't know. In our local newspaper today, there's a picture of her at the White House Correspondents' Dinner on Saturday night here in Washington, cutting it up with General Tommy Franks. He hasn't been around such a bombshell since he visited the J-Dam factory. But after all, whom would he have rather met, Ozzy? Our speaker, as graceful as she is, has just as much brass as Tommy Franks. You all know her many accomplishments. Let's just say that a few years ago, she replaced Julie Andrews in Victor Victoria.
That was a trick.
That was a trick, she says. Somehow I think she'd rather take command of any old dinner theater than take dinner with any old theater commander. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming warmly our speaker, Raquel Welch.
That was a wonderful introduction. I must say, you spent some time over that, and that was...
At least 5 minutes.
No, don't. That was wonderful. I do appreciate all the kind things that you said, and you're going to be a tough act to follow. Really. Anyway, first of all, I would just like to say that I am, of course, very flattered to be invited to speak with you and to you this afternoon at the National Press Club here in the nation's capital, especially at such a pivotal time in American history. But I'm not too sure of my qualifications to be standing here in the company, as your invitation said, of presidents, foreign heads of state, cabinet members. After all, though I have resisted from time to time, I've spent most of my adult life inhabiting and playing the role of the most American of obsessions, a sex symbol. Well, what does that mean? Well, it's somewhere bigger than life, and it's a time-honored tradition from Jean Harlow and Rita Hayworth to Betty Grable and Ava Gardner and, of course, Marilyn Monroe. It is, after all, part of the American dream.
You are gorgeous in person as you are, on film as you have been for years.
Stop it.
You are. You're a very striking woman. And our congratulations are in order for you, who you just got your star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yes, I did finally.
In council bodies, she's the body. North Carolina left you!
But back to the reason that I came here tonight. I'm seldom asked to express myself on anything more than if my fur bikini still fits. So I'm kind of taking advantage of the situation.
I remember the bikini.
I couldn't help but remember how funny it was. Well, not so funny for me the first time that I came to Hollywood. And I had two kids, one in a stroller and one on my left hip. And we didn't have much at the time, actually.
As a single mother who is struggling, you know, to raise my children and also to break into a very difficult business. There is one thing that I do regret in my whole career, I don't know if that question's coming, it usually does, but is that I wish that I had been a better mother and spent more time with my children as they were growing up. And I chose a career at that time because I thought I was being self-expressive and independent and all of those things. And I've had a great life, but I do very much regret that I was not more present as a mother with my children. And I think that we're all starting to realize that women need to do this. This is part of our responsibility when we give birth. We have to be there for the children, and the fathers have to be there for their children too. That's my opinion. I have a son, Damon, and a daughter, Tani. And gosh, we made beautiful kids. I have two children, and maybe you saw my daughter Tani in a movie.
Cocoon.
In Cocoon, yes.
Tani Welch, todos la vieron, ¿no?
Girl. Yes.
Sí.
And that's my daughter, and my son is Damon James Welch, and he wants to be an actor too, but I'm trying to discourage him.
Que no, ¿ah? Qué difícil.
I wish no.
Qué difícil ser actor con una madre tan famosa, tan conocida.
I think it's difficult, yes, I think it's difficult. But life is difficult no matter how you come, you know, into it, you know. That life has this nasty little sense of humor. It always makes you pay for whatever it is that you have.
Yeah, how do they decide who gets the stars? I mean, does it have to be in conjunction with a specific project?
Well, they invite you, but they had kind of invited me before. But the thing is that I kept, well, I was either not there because I lived in New York for years and years.
Right.
And then I would say, but, you know, just to go there, maybe I should have a project. And then I was on Central Park West, and I thought, well, you know, maybe the show needs a little help, so I'll do my star.
In 1996, Hollywood confirmed Raquel's enduring star power with a star on the Walk of Fame.
The first time that I came to Hollywood, I was walking, and I would be walking through the streets of Hollywood, walking across the stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and I wondered if and how I would ever get to be one. I would be walking across the stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and I wondered if and how I would ever get to be one.
It's a reason to bring some of your friends together and celebrate that, hey, I just committed my last 35 years of my life to this work. She was wanting to do that.
And her glittering career has been rewarded with a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Raquel Welch finally has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Welch catapulted to fame in 1966 with a role as a cave woman in a fur bikini in 1 million years BC. Her star was unveiled in front of the future home of the Hollywood Entertainment Museum by Johnny Grant, the honorary mayor of Hollywood. The portfolio of the 55-year-old Welch also includes Myra Breckenridge, Kansas City Bomber, and the Three Musketeers, as well as her exercise videos. Now, with more entertainment news, here's CFTO's Mike Catrice with the Weekend Stars.
I guess that's why they call it the Boulevard of Dreams.
This is Raquel Welch.
Raquel Welch has had extraordinary staying power.
And it's a wonderful, terrible, fabulous, painful, impossible, annoying, and yes, incredible experience. And I wouldn't trade it for all the world. But it is, after all, only a dream. And at some point, I had to wake up from that dream and, well, face reality. Yow! Facing reality? That can be a humbling experience, especially for an aging sex symbol. But I've come to understand that reality is, after all, my friend. And it's where the truth lies. It's where you go to find yourself. And like the Dalai Lama once said, this is not a quote, the purpose of life is to discover who you are. It's about self-realization, I suppose. And, well, I'm all for that. But how do you get there from 1 million years BC in a fur bikini? It did strike me that since September 11th, maybe all Americans are waking up from a dream, too, because nothing will ever be quite the same again. And maybe it's time for all of us to look inside ourselves for the values, the morals, and the courage that we need to face a very uncertain future. I have seldom been, and this comes from my heart, as excited and deeply moved as I have been this last few days in Washington, D.C. My eyes keep welling up with tears. I met the president, I met the First Lady. I was excited as a school kid meeting Britney Spears. I met Colin Powell, one of my heroes, and I was speechless. Well, I know it's been christened Hollywood East, but believe me, the trivia of Hollywood stardom cannot compare. I know you're jaded, but it cannot compare with the depth of feeling you get from meeting these kind. By that I mean the really important people who make a difference. And to go and visit the Lincoln Memorial and read the Gettysburg Address inscribed on its walls. Or maybe I'm just an old-fashioned girl, after all. And don't get me wrong, I've got nothing against sex symbols, or being a sex symbol, or having been a sex symbol. After all, that's how I got my break in the movies.
recognition of her talent as a serious actress came in 1973, when she won the Golden Globe for her performance on The Three Musketeers. In 1981, she won critical acclaim for her work on Broadway in Woman of the Year.
In Los Angeles, Raquel Welch was named Woman of the Year by the Hispanic Women's Council.
I don't think that many people really associate me with my Latin heritage, so it's particularly nice to be recognized by the Hispanic Women's Council.
It was not until 2002 that Welch explored her Latina roots in the PBS drama series American Family.
Role of Aunt Dora on the groundbreaking TV series American Family. The experience opened a window on her Latin heritage that she thought was closed forever.
It's about a Mexican-American family that lives in East LA, and it's just about what it says, an American family.
This character of Aunt Dora is loosely based on a member of my family who, you know, always dreamed about being a movie star and never really quite made it, but was very, very beautiful. And so I thought, well, gosh, you know, I'm going to ask Raquel Welch to do this particular part. I mean, she's Latina.
Have you gotten married?
Raquel relishes the role that's allowed her to explore a whole new side of herself, one that her Bolivian-born father knew but never shared.
He was very hesitant about talking about the Latin side of our background, and it made me feel kind of ill at ease about it. So in a funny kind of way, Gregory Nava opened the gates to a new chapter, which is all about sort of going back to the beginnings and rediscovering, you know, this Latin side of my nature.
But right now, I want to talk about the fact that I'm enjoying a very, very different, more substantial role, both as an actress and as a citizen. I am currently involved, as you just heard, in an important, new, groundbreaking television series for PBS. That's the public broadcasting system, and it's called American Family. And it's about a family that just happens to be Mexican and just happens to be living in East LA. Now, how audacious is that? Pretty revolutionary stuff, huh? Well, you'd think so from the struggle it took to get it on the air. But thank God, luckily for me, it is showing on PBS. And for all the cast members, I mean, we have Mexicanos, we have Puerto Ricans, we have Cubans, we have Spanish, we have Mexicanos, more Mexicanos, we have Brazilians. But the world of the Latinos or Hispanics is a very broad-reaching world. And I've been, how shall I say, well, kind of rediscovered, really, this late in life, as a Latina. Oh! Most people didn't even know that I was Latin, but I am.
Quiero preguntarte, tu nombre civil es Raquel Tejada.
Yes.
Mucha gente te relaciona con Bolivia. ¿Cuál es tu relación con Bolivia?
Well, my father was Boliviano.
Raquel Welch.
My father is from Bolivia, which is where my exotic, you know, part of my nature and my look comes in.
My father was born in La Paz, Bolivia, and he came to the United States in the 1930s to go to the University of Illinois in Chicago, where he met my mother and where I was born. Anyhow, the truth is I'm half and half Anglo and half Latin. My mother, Josephine Sarah Hall, is a blue-eyed blonde from the Midwest, came from Chicago, Illinois, where I was born. And my dad was from a very small country called Bolivia, in South America. A young immigrant, Armando Carlos Tejada. It's a mouthful, isn't it? He came to this country in the 30s to get his degree in aeronautical engineering at the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana, where he met my mother. Well, what can I say? Opposites attract. I came into the world as Jo Raquel Tejada.
And I was named after my grandmother.
Ah, Raquel.
Yes, whose name was Raquel. Yes. So that's the relation.
Anyway, I was named Raquel after my father's mother, my paternal grandmother, and I've been, well, slightly confused ever since. Because, you see, back in those days, my father had to face a lot of prejudice against Latinos when he came here. And for that reason, like many of his generation, he chose to eradicate, to erase, and divorce himself from any signs of his accent, his Spanish language, and even his family heritage. Because my father was Latin, and even though he never spoke Spanish in our home, he was just so Latin in his demeanor, you know, and his attitude and his kind of pride and all of these things. We were taught to be as American as apple pie, and it was a lie. It was a lie that worked as far as blending in would count. So my brother, my sister, and myself grew up without any contact with things Latino. So except for the name Tejada was what most people were thinking. And well, when I came to Hollywood, it wasn't considered chic or in. Let's face it, it was considered pretty unacceptable if you wanted to get ahead to be Latino. Born Raquel Tejada. This was not something that I could use in my work as an American actress, as everyone would understand, but now things are a little bit different. Quite a mouthful, really. Most people would get all tongue-tied and couldn't pronounce it. I was called Raquel. Raquel? What? And sometimes I just said to them, just call me Rocky. Later I became Raquel Welch when I got married and became the mother of 2 small children. Well, they would be small, wouldn't they? But when I hit Hollywood, 20th Century Fox Studios had a very different idea about what to call me. I was really young and I first came there, and I was not prepared for this because when I first got to the studio, they said, well, Raquel, it's, you know, they'll never learn how to pronounce it, and it's a little bit ethnic, you know, and exotic. I think we all know what that means in this day and age. And they did not like the name Raquel. Too foreign sounding, they said. Too ethnic, too hard to pronounce. No one will remember it. And so they said, what about Debbie? They finally just asked me outright to change my name to Debbie. They even tried to get me to drop my name, Raquel. Hey, I could have been Debbie Welch. Me, Debbie? I don't think so. Come on, seriously. Do I look like a Debbie to you?
Does she look like a Debbie to you? I mean, no offense to Debbie, since Debbie Reynolds is a lot of lovely Debbies.
I just didn't feel much like a Debbie, so I said, I don't think so. I think I'll be Raquel.
Good for you.
And, you know, if they can't pronounce it, they'll call me Rocky.
And Rocky's so cool, right? That works. Either one works. Who cares?
Before Sly Stallone, and yeah. Anyway, I guess you know who won that battle. Yeah. I identified with Raquel. That's who I was, and that's who I still am. Well, you know, I always really felt quite a bit like a Latina, you know, I really did. I am really Latina, because in my heart, you know, there's a lot of passion, a lot of sensitivity, a lot of hot-bloodedness, you know. And so in my soul, I'm very positive, you know, that I am Raquelita Tejada Welch, and that's wonderful. I always will be.
¿Tú no has estado nunca en Bolivia? ¿Tú has vivido siempre fuera de Bolivia?
No, sadly, I've never been to Bolivia. I know, it's terrible. My adventure is to find out more about who I really am. Not the dream, the reality. So I'm going to Bolivia in August to see for myself my father's country and what he left behind.
Do you speak Spanish? And are you studying Spanish if you don't?
Yo hablo muy poco, poquísimo. I'm really quite ashamed that I don't speak better Spanish, but I'm sort of got these CDs that I play, and I'm learning But we're just starting our season back again, and when I get sort of with the company, I get a little bit better at it. But I do need to learn, and I need to learn something pretty fast before August, and I go to Bolivia, so that I can be better and not be such a disgrace. In Latin communities, I'm called a pocha, which is somebody of Latin heritage that doesn't speak the language, and it is not a term that is particularly flattering. But I feel like I am really Latina. I'm a pocha, but I'm a Latina.
Raquel Welch recently traveled to Bolivia to trace her family roots, saying she wanted to embrace that part of her history.
This is your security.
Okay. Hello. Hi.
Raquel. Good morning.
Okay, I would just like to say that I am muy alegre to be here in the country of my father's birth.
That's good. This is the scene.
Okay, yo soy muy alegre to be here in Bolivia, the country of my father's birth, and I feel like it's the beginning of a new discovery and a different sort of experience in my life, because I have not had the opportunities before to really examine more closely all of the Latin side of my heritage. And I think it's important to awaken the spirit of the Latino artist in cinema, because this is an important time for all artists of Latino heritage to express themselves and put themselves in the world stage. And now, because of this series, American Family, I am finally able to come out of the closet and even to become the spokesperson for Latinos in this country. I should say a spokesperson for Latinos in this country. Our cast boasts Eddie Olmos, Isai Morales, Sonia Braga, Constance Marie, Rachel Tickerton. Rita Moreno made a guest appearance. They're wonderful people. Even though in my day I found a way around the typecasting and the labels, and even though I unfortunately don't speak Spanish, although I'm learning, I do identify with the painful feeling that to fit in at all costs is really too high a price to pay. But now we're in the new millennium, and the politicians are courting the Latin vote, and Hollywood is not far behind. Maybe I can help in some way shine some light on a people and a subject that has been all too invisible for too long. Today things have changed. We have Antonio Banderas, we have J-Lo, we have Penelope Cruz, we have Ricky Martin, the beat goes on, Andy Garcia. The Latin community is blossoming, blooming. My father wouldn't have had to suppress his heritage because those attitudes are finally fading. So as citizen Raquel, I'm here to say that this isn't a trend. Latinos are here to stay. Latinos are not foreigners or strangers. They are part of the Pacific. They were part of the Pacific Northwest before the pioneers. They are the brothers and sisters of Native Americans and the ancestors and descendants of Spanish explorers. Latinos are the new emerging demographic. They are doctors, lawyers, policemen, politicians, anchor people, scientists, opera singers, war heroes, and sports superstars. And they have made these inroads on their own. And they are a new major force in the American economy with billions of dollars. of buying power. Latinos are America's neighbors, our partners, our friends, our allies, and our citizens. We are part of the future. So, as Citizen Raquel, again, I am proud to be Latina. It is my hope that we will come to the day in the not-too-distant future when American citizens of all colors are people first, and Americans do not have to wave the banner of our race or heritage as a weapon or hide behind it as a shield. That there is no shame in being one of the human race, and that being an American is still the best of all possible worlds. Thank you.
Thank you. And it's really something to stand here and see a speech like that written in her own hand and scratched through. Tells you that it was from her heart.
That's right.
Would you please tell us how your own family is similar or different to the PBS American family?
Well, we were raised very much in an Anglo atmosphere, you know.
What's it like going back to your hometown?
I love it. I mean, my sister just lives up the street here, and so I was really excited to come back and have my sister and my brothers coming. But this was something that I just wanted to do because it's, you know, I used to pass Works every day on my way to this little record store that was down here when I was dating my first husband, Jim Welch. And, you know, we used to listen, we had those little sound booths. You could go inside and we listened to Elvis.
And then you worked with him. Pretty amazing.
Well, yeah, later. Yeah, it was kind of amazing.
Of course it is.
It was very much pop culture around our house, so it wasn't very much right now, in many ways, like the family that I'm in now, which lives in East LA, which is basically a Latin neighborhood. So it's a Latin family that is in a community of other Latinos, and I think that helps foster the language and the culture, the cooking, the sense of family values, and traditional Latin bonding with their friends and family and community. It's very important for them to do that. On the other hand, I suppose you could equate it to an Ozzie and Harriet Latin style. You know, Eddie almost plays a kind of, almost an Archie Bunker character. He's like my dad, kind of a conservative, trying to, you know, be the good old-fashioned American way. But, you know, the thing that you get is their relationship with each other, the generations from grandmother to grandson, and the sisters and brothers, the aunts and uncles. I play Dora, Eddie Olmos's sister. I play Tia Dora. And it makes you think, gee, it's a family like any other family. I don't think that my family, my personal family, was typical of every family. It was typical of a few of those people whose parents felt a sense of repression and anger for not being accepted when they came to this country. And I think that in my household, there was a lot of tension because of that. It made my father, even though he was able to assimilate his children into the system, my brother, sister, and myself, I think it made him an unhappy man. And this is not an unhappy household, an American family. They're happy people.
What is the ultimate message that you expect non-Hispanic society in the United States to learn from your program?
I think maybe just an identity with these people. They're going to recognize the same emotions, the same sense of fun, the same sense of food and camaraderie between people, the same pain, sadness, frustration. I think it's just, you know, the Latin soul is a little bit hotter, it's a little bit more spontaneous than some, but basically it's people. It's just saying, here we are, we're not gangbangers, we're not all have guitars, you know, playing a guitar, we're not all Spanish dancers or hot tamales, we're just, you know, we're just people. And I'm hoping that that's what American Family will do, and that people will come into it because it's a good show, not because, you know, they should watch it, but because they enjoy watching it. I know Gregory Nava always said, you know, let's make this the best show we can possibly make, and hope that it works. It's not a political show, it's a people show. It's a show about characters and situations.
Yes, it's very, very nice to be here. And, you know, it's very special and kind of sentimental for me because my father, I know, is from South America. And also because I'm especially happy because my father's brother came here to meet me. And so I'm so excited to meet him as soon as we're finished talking. Yeah.
¿Y tú no sabías que el hermano de tu padre vivía en Chile?
No, I didn't know that. No.
¿Tú quieres que te lo presente?
You know, it's my... Yes. Now, it's not all my fault, you know. My father was very strange, you know. He never spoke up very much.
Tu tío Walter está aquí. Venga, don Walter, a saludar a su sobrina. Tú no puedes pararte porque tenemos... Pase. Nosotros...
Yes, I have to. Here, you can take that one. Hello. Hello.
Nice to see you. We know you. Very, very nice. You're really wonderful, muy linda, and very intelligent.
Bueno, Raquel, yo sé que tú puedes escuchar con este earphone. Oh, ahí. Estás muy contenta porque está tu tío, el hermano de tu padre, a quien no habías conocido. Él vive en Chile hace 43 años y nos alegramos mucho que hayas estado aquí en Chile. Y estas lágrimas de alegría las consideramos nosotros como un regalo, y el aplauso de nuestro público para ti, por haber venido a la noche de ronda.
Seas muy feliz, estés donde estés. Por favor, Cristian, aquí tenéis a Cristian Meyer. Querida Raquel, bueno, no hace falta que me beses, es que por el apellido Tejada, el apellido Tejada, sé que le interesa mucho saber de dónde procede y de dónde viene.
Sí, mi padre me contó algo de la historia de mi apellido. Me dijo que los Tejada eran como un tipo de lanza que usaban unos caballeros. Supongo que eran los soldados del rey o algo así, eran guerreros, algo así. Y la tejada era también un tipo de teja. Y también colocaban algo así como una teja en la punta de la lanza. ¿Se equivocó él o no?
Pues le vamos a entregar su escudo heráldico, Raquel.
Gracias.
Yo se lo sujeto. Este es el escudo heráldico de Raquel Welch. ¿Se lo puede sujetar, Cristian?
Claro.
Pues yo no tengo palabras para agradecer la emoción que he sentido yo personalmente, Raquel, por estar
Muchísimas gracias.
aquí esta noche. Muchas gracias, que siga teniendo esos éxitos que ha tenido y que siga usted tan guapa, que es la mujer más bella que yo he visto. Hay una española que también es bellísima, Carmen Sevilla, lo tengo que decir. Pero usted...
Gracias.
The Latino community has certainly embraced her, and last year, the Imogen Foundation gave her their Lifetime Achievement Award for her positive portrayal of the Latino image in Hollywood.
And we are honoring Raquel Welch, who is just an icon, and I'm so thrilled to be here and be in her presence.
Nalip is giving me the Lifetime Achievement Award, which is, of course, phenomenal. I mean, what could be wrong with that? I mean, that is the be-all, end-all. It's the icing on the cake.
It's humbling. It's surreal to be next to Raquel Welch. I mean, do you see how hot she looks? Eugenio Derbez.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us at the Press Club. Thank you very much. It was really delightful.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
I hope you come back, and I hope I see you again on Broadway soon. You were so wonderful when I saw you. Raquel Welch, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up next, Charles Nelson Riley.
Raquel, thank you. Always a pleasure to have you. Be right back with Stevie Ray Company. Raquel Welch, you have to go? You have to run? Raquel, straight ahead on your right, left, everywhere. Raquel, that beautiful smile back there. And Raquel, right here. And Raquel, just to your left, please. Raquel, straight ahead, Raquel, straight ahead. And Raquel, just to your left, just to your left. Miss Welch, right here. Miss Welch. Looking right at me, honey. Over the shoulder, Raquel. And Raquel, just to your right, please. Raquel, one more time, to your right. Right here, Raquel, right here. Never see you on. One last time. Raquel, to your right, please.
Yes, I would love to do a really wonderful part, a kind of third act, if you will.
And if you won an Oscar for this role, who would you thank?
Well, I never did like all of those windy thank you speeches. I just always think, just be thankful and just say, thank you.
Well, Raquel, thank you very much. I have thoroughly enjoyed your work tonight.
Thank you.
80 today and still gorgeous.
From sex goddess to award-winning actress, Raquel Welch has emerged as not just an icon of her time, but as an enduring legend.
Don't take me from that angle. I'm not exactly perfect. I spent my whole career either living up to my image or living it down.
Through the years, the old star system has vanished, and cherished movie dynasties have come and gone. Yet the luminous wonder of the Chinese theater and its famous footprints still shines brighter than ever. As long as there's a Hollywood, Sid Grauman's legacy will continue, and movie fans can always count on their favorite stars to make a lasting impression.
When you walked on out my life, I knew you.
It's the public that decides who is a major, major star and an icon, and they've decided that she is.
Raquel attained undeniable superstar status with this, the provocative movie 1 Million Years BC that overnight turned her into a household name and international sex symbol. Her success led to the inevitable question from students in her old drama class.
How would I start off again? Well, if I was the same person, I probably would start off exactly the same way.